As we prepare to bring down the curtain on what's been the greatest leadership seminar we've ever held, it's important to close on an appropriate subject, and I can think of no more appropriate subject than you, the undergraduate members of the fraternity. To deliver the closing address is Dr. Lee Scott Theisen, our Grand High Tau. Lee is currently the director of the Central Arizona Museum in Phoenix, but he has announced the Grand High Zeta this week that he will be relocating back here to the Indianapolis area, and on September 12th will become the director of the Indiana State Museum and Memorials. Brother Theisen.
In 1926, J.R.R. Tolkien was correcting papers at Oxford. He came to a blank page in one, and on doing so was inspired to write, "In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit." And thus was launched one of the 20th century's great literary careers. When asked why, he replied, "It popped into my head." No machine, no technology can do that. The creative moment, the inspiration, the value of the content begins and ends with a creative personality. It is not the common man who is important. It is the uncommon man, the standard bearer who shows the way by action and example. It is this individual of excellence who makes the difference in civilization. Simply swimming with the tide leaves you nowhere. When 40 million people believe in a dumb idea, it is still a dumb idea. The trouble with too many individuals is that they think too small. Take as a precept the architect Daniel Burnham's advice. Make no little plans. They have no magics to stir men's blood, and probably themselves will not be realized. Make big plans. Aim high in hope and dreams. Now, what happens now in your chapters, in your fraternity, is largely up to you. You have attended this seminar to take away with you the benefits of the experience, the teachings, and the brotherhood. The question is, what are you going to do with it? Is it to be forgotten, or will it be applied? Will you lead your chapter, or will you simply drift? The difference that you will make, indeed the difference that you must make, is the difference between excellence and business as usual. Excellence is never easily won. It is never easily maintained. But when it is achieved, everything works. How is excellence achieved? Not just by wanting it or by setting one's mind to it, but by work. Half effort does not produce half results. It produces no results. Hard work, continuous work, is the only way to accomplish great achievements. Ecclesiastes admonished, "Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with all thy power and thy might." One needs to dream and to have faith and desire, but these must be combined with hard work. Life is an unending succession of opportunity. I can't do it, never accomplished anything. I shall try. I shall work at it. I shall make it happen. These perform miracles. Brothers, the world is divided into three types: those who are immovable, those who are movable, and those who move. Opportunities are seized and conquered by work. New visions, new efforts, new desires are all due less to genius than to perseverance and determination by the individual on behalf of himself and by groups of individuals on behalf of the organization. Remember that no man who is worthy of being a leader of men will complain about the stupidity of his helpers, the ingratitude of mankind, or the unappreciation of the public. These are part of life, and to meet them, to overcome them, and not be overcome by them in disgust, in discouragement, or in defeat, this is the final proof of power. the test of the standard bearer. Now, excellence also comes from planning. For the organization which is dedicated to growth and development, there is only one answer: strategic and creative planning. An organization has no choice but to anticipate the future. But too many organizations and too many individuals move through life only by reacting. And when we only react, we are at the mercy of everything and everyone. The hardest job in the world is to think and to plan. An organization has no choice but to plan for the future, to attempt to mold it and project some inspired objectives. Planning is the highest responsibility of leadership. Planning means establishing objectives and determining priorities. It means the willingness to be irreverent about old and standard approaches to a problem. Are your chapter finances in bad shape? Is recruiting not what it used to be? Is the brotherhood less exciting? Then you need to stop, to examine, and to plan. Now, excellence also means imagination. A vigorous organization never feels it has arrived, never feels comfortable. It knows that today's solutions are simply not good enough for tomorrow. It understands that its tasks are never complete. It acts instead of reacts. It never waits for things to happen. It gives up the old and it seeks the new. The organization which will survive and thrive has a can-do attitude in everything it does. It innovates. Because when an organization begins to congratulate itself on being number one and repeating its programs, then it is already number two. Imagination is almost always merely discovering what is present, creating a new twist, an imaginative turn. The leader, the best chapter, knows that the best of anything is yet to be done. It knows that its horizons are not limited, but they are limited only when you do not generate imagination. It abhors accepted procedures, the status quo, crusty and implacable old approaches, and so it drives to do better and still better. The ever-expanding organization knows that there is no virtue in doing things the way it has always been done. It knows there is no end to the frontier, and it rejects as offensive such garbage as, "Why bother? It's too new. It can't be done. It isn't practical. It's never been done that way." And when someone says it can't be done, he probably means, "I don't know how to do it." When you say impossible and it can't be done, then you are on the losing side. The wayside of life is filled with brilliant men, men who start with a spurt but lack the stamina and the fortitude to finish. Their places are taken by men of ideas who never know when to quit. These men have a compelling inner drive, an urge to get ahead, because as William Penn said, "No pain, no palm, no thorns, no throne, no gall, no glory, no cross, no crown." For your chapter's future and for the fraternities, excellence also means integrity. Integrity cannot be bought, it cannot be measured in money, but it is the key to determining the fiber and character of an individual and an organization. What you have outside counts less than what you have inside. In an organization, integrity must permeate every aspect of its activity. Some objectives will change continually, sometimes overnight. But the integrity of an organization does not change with time or mood or because of the circumstances. Integrity must be personified by the leadership, by the men in this room. Integrity means reflecting the highest principles and a devotion to what is right and honest and just. And integrity also means inner strength, a strength which cannot be drawn from drugs or from alcohol or from any of the other temporary panaceas which become dreadful dependencies. If you rely on these, you will have no inner strength. You will fail in life when you meet its first true test. If your chapter comes to rely on them, or if out of a misguided sense of what the brotherhood is, you allow another brother to rely on them and thus to abuse himself and you will soon have no chapter. That way lies not brotherhood, but stupidity. If an organization has integrity, it will offer to each of us values upon which we can depend, a constant in a shifting universe, a home where we can place our feet and focus our mind. When you have excellence, you also have style, and an organization may be born with style depending upon its creators. More often, however, an individual and an organization develop style, develop an identity as time passes, as they succeed, as its accomplishments grow. And even failure can develop style, because adversity toughens the spirit. It sharpens the purpose and the direction. Those who handle adversity with grace learn and move on to great success. And those are the ones with style. Style cannot be touched, but it can be felt. And when an organization concentrates itself, rivets its focus on its priority tasks, on goals and achievements, then style evolves effortlessly. Organizations and individuals with style set the pace. They do not sway with the moods and the tides of time. They follow but one course, a design they set for themselves. Perhaps Hamlet's Polonius said it best. To thine own self be true, and it must follow as day the night. Thou canst not be false to any man. Today's world is filled with lackluster mediocrity, with butt-sitters, with individuals and organizations with too damn many Lambda Chi Alpha chapters who don't even know life is passing them by, who wander through life without a commitment to anything. We have too many individuals and too many organizations in this country who aren't worth the powder to blow them to hell. You can't achieve excellence by drifting through life. You must dare. You must live your life to the fullest. Because as Montesquieu said, the interval between being too young and being too old is very, very short. Don't be afraid to fail. You may not remember it, but you failed many times. You fell down the first time you tried to walk. You almost drowned the first time you tried to swim. Did you hit the ball the first time you swung the bat? Heavy hitters, the ones who hit the most home runs, also strike out a lot. R.H. Macy failed 7 times before his store in New York City caught on. English novelist John Creasy got 753 rejection slips before he published 534 books. Babe Ruth struck out 1,330 times, but he also hit 714 home runs. Don't worry about failure. Worry about the chances you miss when you don't even try. Don't be afraid to be what so many are, afraid to try, afraid to go against the current. All of the great lives are lived against the norm. Fear not that your life will end, but that it will never begin. The main reason the fraternity goes on is because it is constantly finding new leaders, new standard bearers to replenish the ranks. Some standard bearers have already passed on, such as Lou Plord and Bruce McIntosh and Houston Carnes. But their accomplishments, their excellence, flash in my mind like lightning against a dark horizon. Your excellence, as theirs was, must be made up of 4 things. First, work, because work has a virtue of its own, and nothing can be achieved without it. The greatest losses in history have been in the millions of lives whose powers remain dormant all their lives. Second, planning, because it is the highest responsibility of leadership, and without it, we live all of our lives in reaction not inaction. Third, imagination. Because imagination is the key to constant, vigorous growth. And when you stop growing, you die. And fourth, integrity. Because without integrity, you have no inner strength. And in a leader, you must have great courage and inner strength to shoulder responsibility and to step to the head of the column. And when you have these four brothers, you will have excellence and style. Take them back to your chapters with you. And with them, both you and your chapters will prosper. Strive for the best. Make no little plans. Accept nothing but excellence in your chapter and in your life. Thank you.